Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long was 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long Boys Bros 1975.
Hey YouTube, Numbers Post 1975, and welcome to a Chinese knockoff tat product overview. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I showed this very recently in a Fat Friday video to point out that I haven't forgotten that I do these things. I've just been taking it easy for a bit on this channel, pretty much the summer months, because I'm not a massive fan of summer and I'm getting old. However, I thought about time I turn my attention to this because it's been knocking around for absolutely ages. One of my mates gave this to me. He said he bought it off the internet for his daughter because he thought it sounded like a bit of fun. The fact that it's got motion controls. Yes, this has motion controls. This does not bode well, I know. And she just wasn't interested in it. So he gave it to me. He said, hey, you could do this for one of your Chinese knockoff chats reviews, especially since it's motion control based. So I have opened the contents of it before, but it came in this rather underwhelming box. The box had no sort of, you know, the charm you get with these things. Where is it? It's down here, excuse me for a moment. The charm you get when you buy knockoff tat boxes, I think, you know, that's all part of the process for me. And it doesn't have any of that. It came with two controllers. I have opened the backs of these because obviously I need to know what battery it takes. It takes AAA. So if anything, it is two-player, and I'm doing it in this order because I didn't know what it was called when I got it. You get a power brick. Look at that, Nintendo and everyone else, mini Sega, TurboGrafx. You get a power brick and you get a USB-A to USB-A. Okay, that's a bit weird. You get these are outside the box because this was actually sealed in plastic, and it is a very primitive set of instructions. It is one piece of paper. We'll come back to that in a moment because you also get an HDMI lead, not bad for a freebie, and you get this. And I knew what it looked like because I have looked it up on Amazon to see, no disrespect to my friend, what they go for, in case amazingly after we review this it's absolutely shit on and one of you might like it. But it's just a little hub, that's all it is. It looks like a TV box, and it says game box on it. So obviously it's a system on a chip. So yeah, the controllers then are indeed wireless, as there is nowhere to put them anywhere on this unit. We get an HDMI out, and we get, is it USB-A? We get the end that you plug into shit to plug the other end into other shit, such as to power it or to transfer data. I mean, USB's knocking around for years now, but is that how it originally was? A to A. And you get an SD card that can be removed. Let's have a look at the SD card. Better not lose this. That might be the whole thing. Is this the games? Is this the operating system? I honestly don't know. It's 2 gig though, so, you know, there we have it. There we have the system and the control pads. Literally, if I left this on the windowsill, it would blow away. I cannot express how light it is. It's clearly a system on a chip, and I doubt that whether or not you would even need cooling, you know, for it. These instructions are unbelievably small, even while wearing glasses. Why do they do this? Is it so they can hide it from you, you know? Hey, if you can't read it, you can't play it, and if you can't play it properly, you can't say it's shit. There's a thing at the top. Look, plug this into what? Console, and this into nothing. Speech bubbles, look, and yeah, so, and put batteries in like this. There are basically running in game instructions. There are 29, it goes up to 61. It is literally a line of text for each and every one. I'm just going to pick one at random. Fruit Master. Hold the handle upright in the game, just wave the handle. 100-meter running. In single player mode, players need to, this is a different game obviously, simulate real running and run with a handle in one hand. So nothing like simulating real running. Happy rope skipping, hold the handle upright. Basically, this is a list of games, and it obviously tells you the orientation for the pad. So you either hold it upright or you hold it like that. I'm guessing if you hold it like that, then there's some sort of input required from these buttons. Anyway, let's find out what this is called. I searched and I searched and I searched, and then I searched some more on Amazon, and I came across it, and it is called Brand Version F. The YPRSODF TV Game Console with built-in 883 games, 2 players, handheld retro video game system with 2.45 wireless gamepad, Somotensori, HDMI, USB plug and play, kid, adults, interactive puzzle game, red. So it's £59. That's quite expensive. It's £59, and that's the lovely picture. So they are available on Amazon should you want to have one, but that will be based on the end of the review of this product I'm going to take a look at now. I generally have not touched this, so this should be quite interesting. Right off the bat, I can tell you, even though I told you these were unbelievably cheap, they are light. They are unbelievably cheap. I'm going to go out on a prediction here. I'm not going to show you the motion controls, you know, put a camera and record me at distance, because I think it's safe to say, because if you watch my channel for a while, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but I came across, because they were a fad when the Wii came out, weren't they? And I came across a few years later one in a charity shop. I forget what it's called, but it was basically a console on its side. At least it made an effort to look like a console, I should say. A console on its side, copy the Wii, and it was basically 16-bit system on a chip, but all the games were written for it from the ground up, as I suspect they will be for this. And you have motion controls that literally, as you would expect, certainly with these, I don't know if it's literally a tilt switch or something like that in there. Even that seems a tad expensive for what this is, especially when you consider the weight. On and off. You know, there was no, you know, even with the original Wii before the Motion Plus, let's be honest, I shouldn't even be mentioning these controls in the same breath, should I? But even the original motion controls on the Wii before you got the Motion Plus, you could swipe, you know, obviously you could point. It did stuff. Motion controls, when you buy stuff like this, maybe it will surprise me, I sincerely doubt it when it's this light, are literally on or off. So I'm going to take this in the other room. I'm going to set it up. Setting it up seems a bit strong for what it is. And we're going to have a look at some knockoff Chinese tact motion control games, and apparently there are 800 plus games on here. So the fact that someone could come up with 800 plus games themselves and then tack on some sort of rudimentary motion control, I find very interesting. Okay, so I fired it up, and straight away all I can say is I don't know if that's like an elevator music version or something, or Muzak, or there's something very familiar about that tune. Anyway, at the bottom of the screen it says please hold the handle device vertically to operate this type of game. So that would be for motion sports games, and then please hold the handle device horizontally and horizontally for that. And then at the bottom of the screen we have up, down, left, right to choose. A to confirm. A is annoyingly on the outside of the pad and B is on the inside. So the game's divided into 3 folders. So I guess we jump into motion sport games, because that's what this is primarily being marketed as, you know, kind of a knockoff. We have knockoff, you know, well, no, with motion control. So we'll go into this. So we'll press A, and then we still have to select it though. Yeah, holding it horizontally. So we have what? 12 games. 24. Well, so there's not 800, so it's definitely divided up. So there's only 31 motion games. We'll have a look at a few, but so we have to play the motion games holding it horizontally. Right, so we're going to go with bowling. That's obviously a good one. So A. Have to press it really hard. Loading. Why are you loading? Your system on a chip. Right, so it's still horizontal. 1 player, 2 players. There's a big red light on this. There's a big red light on the unit itself when I turn it on that makes the entire box glow pink. And there's a big red light on this. that flashes every time I shake it. Since the motion controls are only going to be on or off, I don't really see the point in filming myself to show you that they work, because I guarantee they'll be super. Right. Why is the menu music so loud and this so quiet? Right. Charles. Right. Top right, games. Top left, pins. Right. Right. So we're vertically, and we move left or right vertically, and then shaking. Shake harder. Boy does nothing. Up. Nothing. Buttons. Nothing. Down. Buttons. No. Buttons go back. Throw down. So we've set our direction, and then power, and then there we go. So you launch by swinging. Strike. Yeah, they're on or off, aren't they, the motion controls? I suspect that your motion controls are basically going to be in place of a button. We're going to keep it in the center. It seemed to work, and that you will use the other buttons. Down, stop, up. It's very 16-bitty, as you would expect. I wasn't expecting anything. It doesn't look terrible. It's 720. Strike. Yeah, so essentially these are very, very, very limited motion controls. Select, exit game. So select and start. So we exit game. Yeah, so I like that. What other games shall we have a look at? We'll have a look at stuff that's typically motion. Oh, super. Right, hang on, I've got to go horizontal. Super fighters, not just regular fighters. Super fighters. Right, so press start to play. I press start. I still have to use the control horizontally to traverse the menus, and then vertically for the game apparently. We'll go with this guy. There we are. So X-Star USA, we're fighting someone in China. Thank you for waiting. Right, so what do I do? Did they steal that from Tekken? I'm punching. That's not fair. He's got a kick. Our lives are energy, top left. We both have rage bars. I don't even know how that works. I'm just flailing. It's just on or off. Some of that in your life. Graphically, it's not terrible. Why do you got special moves? How are you supposed to do special moves with motion controls, especially when they're just on or off? Yeah, graphically, it's not terrible. Some of that in your face. Complete lack of animation. The buttons, they do nothing. Alright. Actually, no, down. It does favour the down button, doesn't it? Down is block. I've only got one hand, apparently. Oh, he's down. He's down. He's oh. Why do I care so much? Yeah, it's... Yeah, you stole that. It's nothing sacred. Yeah, so it's just on or off. I'm not too surprised. I called this at the start of the video. Okay, well, we'll have a look at something else. Exit game, yes. Right. I mean, I'm guessing if you're really young, this would be alright. You probably wouldn't notice that you've been sold a dud. Ping pong. Right, ping pong. 1-1. Fire. Look at him. Right, so how do I left right does nothing. Hit. I hit that one, it's off the table. Now, I've only got hit. I'm trying different motions, and none of them are doing anything. Swing it harder. No. So essentially, this is an on-rails ping pong game. Like I said, if you're really young, you probably wouldn't see through that. I'm guessing then, therefore, it just at some point decides whether you should win a shot or the computer does, see? because I have no directional control. I am just literally on off hitting the ball. It's fate, essentially, decided by the computer. I am not actually in control of this. Balls. Because I hit the net. Yeah. Right, well, let's have a look at something else. Is that bigger? Random. Right. Fencing, curling, fishing, throwing javelin. Darts. Gotta be darts, hasn't it? Darts and archery, I feel. Darts and archery. One player. Right. So, we're in the game, so we don't do left or right. And then we press up. Yes, up, apparently. And then, so, I guess that's decided, you know, the area of the board. And now from the outside to the inside is another button. Yes, and then... Okay, so now I just... Yeah. What are you doing? These are very limited. I mean, it's correct dart, if you look, you know, we go from 301 down. I shouldn't be going for bullseye, that's just me. Yeah. On or off? On or off? To be fair, the way... Why are you fucking... Hey! Yeah. It's just... I mean, the way it lines the shot up is pretty much every darts game I've ever played, including the Spectrum, but yeah. There... Select. I've noticed a pattern, as I said, I've noticed a pattern. Essentially, you do all your input, your power and your stuff like that. You do that with traditional buttons, and then you launch your move, or, you know, like ping pong or stuff like that, or throw the darts, or, you know, or punch. You launch. The only thing the motion control does is it basically replaces a button. Right, so now we're vertical, are we? Okay, it goes down and the target's moving. Right, so then what do? I want to... Hey, top left, wind. So, let go then. Hang on, I got it. Time. And I missed. So yeah, you do all your input and stuff like that. And then you just, that's it. Your motion control... I mean, it's cheap, so we weren't expecting anything to be like amazeballs, were we? It's just essentially fucking Legolas. Yeah, just essentially a button. And I'm out. Complete. Your score 160. We'll have a look at one more. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting anything more than this, but you know, right? So let's. Where was it? It was at the start, tennis. Let's see if this plays the same way as ping pong 2. So horizontal now, and then we press fire and we're in it. And now, dear. There's a very flash, like internet flash browser game feel to the way these graphics look. But yeah, so, and then again, yeah, so I serve. No control over the person, that's the game moving that. I'm not doing that with a D-pad. So it's essentially just like ping pong. This is tennis on rails. A little bit of parallax going on there, like a kind of 3D court effect too. So I don't know what's in this, but just try really hard then to swing, see if it makes any difference. Swing it from left to right, right to left. I don't know why I'm doing this. We know it's not going to achieve anything. Shit. That was on me. You can miss it, obviously. You can miss it, and that will mean that the player 2, if you've got any mates, or player computer will score. But if you're always on your shot with your timing and you're just hitting it, then it's like ping pong. It's on rails. It's up to the computer, I guess, to decide. I could be wrong. By all means, correct me, especially if you have this. Up to the computer to decide who wins or who loses. Because I can assure you, whatever I do makes no difference to the shot. So that's a couple of games. There are a load more in here, but I think it's safe to say we know, there we go, how the motion controls work. So, where are the other 770 games? Right, let's go back. Back, thank you. I guess we have a look in puzzle casual games. Boom. Right, so what do we have in here? 12, 24. We have the same, what, 31? So that's 62. So where are the other games? That means the final folder is going to be huge. So what do we have? Everybody Fishing, Trample Goblin, that's not very nice to the Goblin, Beans King, Dream of Gens, Mix and Match, Jack or Eggs, Highway Racing. I guess we got to have a look at Rescue Pets, because we like pets and they should always be safe. So what's going on here? I have no idea why someone is revving the balls off a car outside, but hey, what can I say? Bristol. One player. There we go. Right. I want a skateboard, am I? Okay, Game and Watch. Hey, they stole Homer. I like the fact that they're stealing samples. Can I just stand here then for the duration of this? No. I mean, I understand that these games are going to be aimed at very young kids. They're probably the only ones who would not realise that the motion controls are essentially a con, but right. Exit game. What else should we have a look at? It's interesting though, because these are the games they've made themselves up, unless anyone recognises where these have actually come from. Gotta have a go at Happy Baby Karting. Not just karting, not just baby karting, or not just happy karting, but Happy Baby Karting. Right. So all these ones, I just keep the control horizontally. The control pad is awful, by the way. I'm not really noticing any input lag whatsoever, which is quite impressive, but the buttons are stiff, unresponsive. You have to press them really, really hard, and the D-pad, it hurts. It hurts my thumb. Right, here we go. Time bottom left, score top right, level 1 top left. Forward, backwards does nothing. Buttons do nothing.
Banana.
Okay.
Mango.
I just collect fruit.
Peach.
What's this? Jump? Oh no. Something to avoid.
Watermelon.
Oi! Yeah. I mean, we knew it was aimed at kids, but yeah, look at it.
Strawberry.
What is in this thing? Oh my god.
Apple.
Yeah. I like the music. Hey, the sound on this is good, to be fair. It's a clear, nice image as well, if we're looking for some positives.
Apple.
Right. Apple. Yoink. So look,
Watermelon.
all I have is steering.
Banana.
All I can say is this third selection of games that I've yet to try better be fucking pretty spectacular, and there apparently should be 740 in there. Right. Oh well. I think we've seen this. There was another driving game, wasn't there? What was the other driving game? Right. I mean, if you really want to see it, I sincerely doubt you do, I will come back and show you some more games, but you know, this is just to get our head around it. It's driving, okay? Single game, double game, don't know what that is. I wonder if that image is stolen. Right. Level 1.
Ready?
Petrol, bottom right. It's speeding, I'm not. It's decided I have left and right again. Distance on the left. This reminds me of like a VTech edutainment sort of game. It's got that kind of look to it. Again, I do like the music. Oh. Shit. Traffic cones. Who knew? Yoink. Yeah, again, there's no input lag. This pad is horrible, and this is the world's simplest game. Sure. Right, well, we'll have a look at... There's one that's intriguing me, because it can't be, can it? Where was it? There it is, Bomber Boy. Let's have a look at Bomber Boy. Okay, Bomber Boy. Yoink. And it's Bomberman. A very ugly looking Bomberman. Fire? Yeah. Well, there you go, we got Bomberman on here. Should all be happy now. How I can play it, I don't know. I mean, like, this pad is awful. I'm invulnerable. Come here and die. Hey! You win. It's Bomberman. It's just incredibly unresponsive. Again, no lag, just a shit pad. Ooh. Well, there you go. If you've got an absolute woody for Bomberman, buy one of these. Okay, start, select, yeah, back. Okay, and then, well, there you go. So this, you could argue to some, well, obviously not with Bomberman, stuff like that, but, you know, a lot of these games could have been in the other thing. You know, they're made up games. Are they made up games? I want to say they're made up games. Oh, look, you got, let's have a look at Plane Fight. You got Solitaire. You're going to give me more than what? You're going to scroll. Yeah, we got a shooter. Hey, there's some kind of effect going on there. I do wonder what's in here. Ooh. Hey. Remember, if in doubt, swoon. So we got a shooter. So we got a proper shooter. This is really showing up how bad this pad is. Still, good music, eh? Right, well, let's come out. I am very much intrigued for what's behind door number 3, Bob. Come on, skip, skip, skip. Skip to the end. Backwards. There we go. Right, let's have a look at what's in classic games. You better have Tetris if you've got a Game Boy and Tetris going on in shit there. So, classic games then. Boom. Hey, there we go. 1942, 1943, 1945, A Boy in His Blood. Wait. And I recognise the screen layout. Are these... Hang on a minute. Are these NES games? Do we have a possible saving grace for this machine? 1942. No way! We've got NES games on it. I think this is where it pads the games up to 800. Right. And do you know what? I mean, it's HDMI. I just forgot the fucking problem with this game. The screen image ain't terrible. The control pad is still. We got NES games. Right, that's enough of that. Pause. Wait, what? I have no way out. What does the second pad do? Second pad, it does nothing. I have no way out. Are you telling me there's no reset on this console? It doesn't even have a fucking power button. Are you telling me I have to power it off? I have to pull the mains out and then plug it back in to come back to a previous menu. I guess that kind of makes sense, because I mean, this is an emulator now, surely? Oh man. Redeeming feature denied. Right, hang on. I'm probably going to edit this. I am going to edit this out. Yes, one quick hot swap later. I say quick hot swap later. I had to plug it in and out and in a couple of times. Nothing was happening when I was plugging it back in, because you couldn't be asked to give me an on and off button. Right. But anyway, let's see what we've got in here. Golden bird. Not just regular bird, but golden bird. Bird. Woo! We got knockoffs. Well, fuck it. We got to see this, haven't we? The Super Shinobi. Super game. I didn't know there was a knockoff ROM of Super Shinobi. Is this done from the ground? Look at the glitch in it. Or is this like a Game Gear thing? I don't know. Fire. Start. There we go. Got jump. I don't know how I throw my shurikens. I do know the way its screen is scrolling is doing a number on me, but there you go. We've got Super Shinobi, and it's making me want to vomit. To be fair, this is a knockoff game, isn't it? So let's have a look at something we know how it handles or it plays, and see what that looks like on here. Because obviously, as I said, this is HDMI. And excuse me while I reset. Right, I only had to plug it out and in the once that time. It's spoiling me. Classic games, right? Boys, blah. Adventure. Oh, I know what Adventure Island plays like. We'll have a look at Adventure Island. Hey, I like this menu music. And this menu, the way it does this, is exactly the same as every NES on a chip I have. Granted, this menu is not as butt ugly as the other ones, but yeah. Because the nostalgia game was developed in the 80s, the resolution is low. Oh, thanks for that. Sorry, did you see that? Yeah. Well, it wasn't exactly fucking mind-blowing in your own games, mate, but press the up button. So obviously you all know the deal with the difference between Wonder Boy and this. Look. Ooh! Why's he got a Mario Cash? Yeah, because West won, and then Sega owned the character of Wonder Boy, so this is just Wonder Boy. But it's not Wonder Boy. It's like, that's Wayne's Basement, only that's not Wayne's Basement. Plays alright. Again, this pad is fucking horrible, but I'm not noticing any input lag. Oh yeah, you got Run, haven't you? I forgot about that. Now we've got a skateboard. Plays alright. The colours are a lot better than I remember. I doubt that's anything to do with the system, but I always remember, like, you know, especially compared to the Master System, so like Wonder Boy, the NES has butt fucking ugly bland beige, if you will, colours. Yoink! I don't like the, well, I guess because we're in NES games now and not its own thing. The volume varies so much between stuff, so apologies it's a bit loud. I can't be asked to do anything about it. I'm lazy like that. Hey! Why am I so determined to beat one level? So yeah, also, when I, oh hello, when I unplugged it, plugged it back in that time, I only had to do it once. I didn't have to do it like 3 or 4 times to get it to work. Build quality on this thing is not amazing. So we'll have a look at one more game. Right, if you've got Super Mario Brothers on it, then that's somewhat of a saving grace, if they play alright. Right, I mean, more, do I see more Combat 4 and 5? There you go. Right. Super Bowl, Super Off-Road. No Super Mario Brothers. Super Spy Hunter. No Super Mario Brothers. It's like they figured they've ripped off enough in this, so they figured we'll let you keep something, Nintendo. Right, Super Off-Road. Did a comparison of this against the Master System. That's irrelevant. This is a system overview, Dave. Ivan Stewart. Finish. Bit of rack on that. I just selected it on qualifying race. Continues allowed. Thank you very much. Right, so we got accelerate and we got turbo. I'm the pink one. No, B's accelerate. I don't know. The one on the outside. That's my bad. But hey, it runs alright. Oh no, I'm not pressing the button hard enough because obviously it's so rigid and hard. Just the pad is shit. You got to really press it down. It just won't do anything. Oh, there you go. Let's jump to the other room. I have quite a lot to say. Right, as you can see, that was not at all what I was expecting. So, There are, it would appear, now we know the elephant in the room, which has got NES games on there. That was a complete shot out of the dark. I did not know that, but that would be how they justify that there are that many games on there. However, as you saw, it's divided into 3 menus, and the first menu with about 30 plus games is the only one that has motion controls. And as I said, motion controls is very strong a descriptive term for what they are. They are literally on or off, and I have read this since, and apparently that boxing game you have to use both pads. One is your left arm, one is your right arm, which I guess for this is unbelievably advanced. But yeah, basically, how does it look? I like the music. I don't know what it was. I know I've heard it before. I'm pretty sure it's a knockoff, but the music was really, really, really infectious. It's 720p. The display is what you think it would be. It's all right. It's nice. Basically, the graphics for the games themselves, because interactively, they're a tad limited in the first 2 selections. You know, the motion control and the puzzle games. They remind me of early Flash games. In fact, they remind me of the Flash games that you would play in a web browser in the 90s. They're extremely basic, but you know, they're extremely kiddie friendly. I guess this is whom that machine is aimed towards. The motion controls themselves are, as I suspected, as we all suspected, on or off. You play the bowling game. As with all these games, essentially the motion controls are a button. That's all they are. They take the place of a button for a certain specific moment in that game to trigger, you know, a response such as shoot or punch. I guess you could argue if you're using 2 of them for boxing and you're using one, you know, to swing, to run, then a little bit closer to what motion controls would be, but they are basically on or off, and they replace a button. Because with the bowling and with most games, you used down, not these buttons. These are purely for the menu. If you're holding it like an actual pad, they are for the menu. If you have to play games upright, then basically that's why you have to use the D-pad, because there is no trigger. So they've made it look like a Wiimote, kind of, but it performs more like a shit control pad. But you have to use that, I'm guessing, because you have no, and you don't even have a button there, and obviously select and start are what return you back to the menu, which would be a godsend in the NES games, but we'll get to that. So basically, yeah, you've got your bowling, you've got your archery, you've got everything. You set up your primarily, you know, like where you want to do something, where you want to target whatever is on the screen, because let's be honest, be it darts, bowling, archery, I played a few more games, javelin and stuff like that. Basically, you have to set up your shot. Everything else, so everything like setting up your shot, like with the dart you saw, like it moved around, it moved in, down, down, down. When you're comfortable, you know, hold down or release, hold down again to get your speed or your power up, and when you're comfortable, bang. That's it. That's all your motion controls achieve. Basically, it's not a motion control console, is it? We kind of knew that. It's a gimmick. Even by gimmick standards, it's weak. The only people I could see that would fall for it, and the only people I could see that this console would be any good for, would be a very young child competent enough to hold a control pad, but one who's not going to question it and turn around to her parents and say, or his parents, and say, this is pretty fucking weak, Dad. I mean, that's a button press, isn't it? But you know what? Well, we'll find out. I might give this to my niece. So yeah, I mean, they've made an effort. They've taken all the tropes of games you would like to see and expect, such as ping pong as well, in there, and they look alright. Like I said, they look like Flash games. They sound alright. There is no. I could notice no input lag. I have to say that I could notice no input lag. They've come up with a bunch of their own games. This is a system on a chip, so whatever is running it, I do not know. The next section of games, they were awful. They were extremely beyond basic. I felt that they made more effort on the motion controls than they did that motion control games than they did that section. That section was just terrible, like Game & Watch and shit like that. The Bomberman was rubbish. Didn't even know what I had to do in that game when I was a pig. They were absolutely rubbish, but they play like traditional games. So on this, when it says you got 60 games, you can have that for the games that you have motion controls. Yeah, because it's not. So there's 60 games that they made themselves for this, half emotion, half of this puzzle section where they rip, because I've played a few more of those, they just rip off all kinds of basic games, web browser games as well. That you'll play a bunch of stuff in there, you'll have a nagging feeling that you clearly played before on an out-of-date Pentium in the 90s. But do you know what? They made them themselves. Like, look at the driving games. Look at the driving games. Again, I understand, despite that it's saying it's aimed for kids / adult, it's clearly aimed at kids, and again, a very, very young kid would probably quite like it. I'm talking like 2, 3. Can you? I don't know. How old was I when I first? Well, obviously when I could first start playing video games, there weren't any because everything ran on coal. But yeah, so again, it's clearly aimed at young kids. Although I know lots of young kids who actually can handle an actual proper control pad on a proper system. But you know what I mean. This it's knockoff tat. This is what they've aimed at. So those 2 sections out of the way, is it worth buying it for that? It is certainly not worth buying it for that. I'll give you spoilers. It's not worth buying it outright, period. But obviously I like shit like this, even though I didn't buy it. So who knows, maybe I would have bought it because I like shit like this. So the first 2 game sections out of the way where they've made all their own stuff. Well, maybe they haven't. Maybe someone knows that these things existed out there and they adapted it for rudimentary motion controls. I don't know. But that's where you get the original content. And again, as I said, only half of that is motion control. Sounds alright, no real input lag. Looks alright for what it is. It's HDMI, and obviously, as we discussed, the motion controls basically aren't really motion controls. They just replace. I know you could argue to some degrees, isn't that what a lot of early shovelware game was like on the Wii, possibly, but they just replace a button press. Now, my amazement, excuse me, my amazement gives me a gacky throat. When I went into the third menu and started scrolling downwards, immediately I knew that these were NES games. So that's, you know, again, as I said at the start of this part of the video, how they bulked it up to 100. I haven't counted it. I can't confirm if that makes 100 games. I'm amazed that stuff like Mario was missing, because obviously it's a bootleg system on a chip, isn't it? In this case, games are on the SD card. I'll get to that in a moment. I was quite surprised at that, because it's not like they gave a shit about copyright in the first place to say we'll spare Nintendo its plum, because you know we've already raped them enough. But yeah, so I was going through that, and there are a whole shit ton of NES games, and there are a bunch of hooky bootleg knockoff titles in there as well, such as Shinobi 3, as you saw, which I was quite surprised with. I'm not sure why I'm quite surprised with that, because of all the systems on a chip I have that are knocking off NES's, they've all got bootleg games in there. But yeah, and the thing is, even though it's the wrong aspect ratio, when you boot it up, the image on it actually, for what it is, and for the way I capture it, at least for me, especially with Adventure Island, looked really nice. It absolutely looked really, really nice. And the pads are shit and the buttons are clunky and unresponsive, but it's doable because there's no input lag. I'm sure if this is what you do for a living, you know, you could probably go, actually Dave, let me correct you there. I'll tell you how exactly many milliseconds of input lag there are, and there's quite a few. I couldn't find any. I found it more than playable, and I played a lot more games than you saw. For obvious reasons, I became very frustrated in the video. Than you saw in that video, because I'm guessing that it's 2 systems on a chip. Again, I don't know. One handles all the stuff that they wrote for the first two game sections, the motion controls and the puzzle games, the kind of flash-looking games, if you will. And then there's a NES on a chip in there as well. Because there is no way, using the normal method, you can reset the machine. Cannot. You absolutely have to power it off and power it back on. And every time I powered it off and powered it back on, I don't know if it's a case of it didn't like being hot swapped. You can't do it any other way. Even if you didn't want to reset the machine and you're only playing the first 2 game menus, there is no power button on this. I forgot I put it back in the box now. There is no power button on this to traditionally turn it on or off, which is a bit annoying. So every time I reset it, sometimes it would boot up and go into the menu. Other times it would sit there on a black screen, and I kept thinking, wow, really? Have I killed it after just rebooting it a number of times? No more than 3. In fact, so obviously I edited that out of the video because it would have made a very boring video. But yeah, and the whole process of rebooting it, it takes, you know, takes a minute or so. So yeah, pick a NES game you really want to play. It may look alright on HDMI in this when you play NES games, and for, you know, how crap these pads are, for the most part, play alright. You know, it's doable. it's doable. I got 5 levels into Adventure Island. Not that you saw it there. Yeah, for every NES game you pick, make sure you really want to play it. You're not going to be buying this machine for the NES side of it. I'm guessing from their point, it was just easy to stick a NES on a chip in there, because then they can say, hey look, 800 games. In fact, that's purely the only reason it's in there. Otherwise, you would have had a reset option, or you certainly would have just had a fucking reset button or power switch on the console. Is this worth buying? Oh, quickly, no, before I get to that, all the NES games, there are 3 folders of ROMs on the SD card, right? There's a config file, but there's no operating system or anything like that, so that whatever runs those is clearly on the, the board, too strong a descriptive term there, that powers the machine, or lets you run these games. But the folders themselves are on that SD card. So I added one in, and it didn't show up. Didn't show up when I powered up to the menu. But I am going to another play at that, because that might just be the way I named it or something like that, or it zapped off the extension, because the fact that the games are on there suggests to me that you can add more NES games, such as the Mario Brothers games. Whether you want to do that so you have a better selection of games on a system when you have to play the NES part of it is so clunky, awkward and horrible to use, because you cannot physically come back out of the game, I sincerely doubt it. But yeah, is this worth buying? Absolutely not. It's 60 quid. I like shit like this for shits and giggles, because I like Chinese knockoff tat. The motion controls are literally a button press. Everything else you do during that game, before you do that one button press, you do with a button. The second list of games, they're just rubbish. They're just like web browser games. They're absolutely trash. I mean, they look alright, they sound alright, and as I said, the NES section of this is just rudimentally unusable, because of the way that you can't come out of the menus. However, if it was something like 20 quid, I could see that it would be worth getting, as I said, for a very young child. But other than that, ultimately, it's a gimmick. It's beyond a gimmick. It's a broken gimmick, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. However, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and I am going to have another pop at it and see about naming games and stuff like that. And the boxing game I'm going to try again, just because I like Chinese knockoff tat. It's a weakness of mine. Anyway, I would tell you what the name of the console is here, but I can't remember. YPRSODF game. That's a guess. If you're looking at the title, you know that I probably got it wrong. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Rolls right off the tongue. Clearly, not worth 60 quid. But hey, I've taken a look at it, so now you don't have to. As always, I'd love to know what you think, especially if you have one of these. If someone else has one of these, I'll be absolutely amazed. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.